Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. I am so glad that you came to join us today. Today, my special guest comes all the way from Virginia Beach, and every now and then I get to interview people right in the town I live in. And some people ask, Andy, how do you get your guest all the time? And I go, I don't know all the time. Let me just tell you a quick story before I introduce you to Elder McRae. Somebody in our church says, "Hey Andy, I got somebody who should be good on your podcast." I says, "Really? Give me their name." Somebody passed in church, just passed me in the hall and gave me their name. We got connected, and sure enough, here we are. And author, he's authored several books. Elder McRae from Virginia Beach, glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, sir. I'm so glad to be on. It's exciting. I was just thinking about Mr. Lambert, and he's attending some more of my leadership classes. And so it's such a small world. It's not often I meet people of faith there in the shipyard while I'm working, teaching on leadership. But we just connected. He loves what I'm sharing. And so some kind of way we started talking about faith and like what church you go to. And next thing you know, we're talking about the Lord, and then it's like, well, hey, this guy has his podcast. So anyhow, I'm so excited, just blessed to be here, and just really privileged to be able to do the work that I do, local and abroad.
Good. Now you're an author, but you also served our great nation in the Navy for many years too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did 20 years, 4 months, 10 days. I wasn't keeping track.
Who's counting on that, right? Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Yes, sir. Yeah, so just great. This has just been great. So a little bit, we don't have a lot of time, but the thing that makes me attractive and kind of has me traveling and doing different things and invited to different circles is this book that I wrote. And I am currently in the process of doing the sequel. So once the sequel is done there, Andy, we'll have to talk again. But I was able to put this book together with the help of God and his servants, this book called Parent Leadership for Today. And so I've just been growing in the discipline of this kind of this construct of parenting and leadership. And so I'm just happy that God has given me something to write about, to talk about, and the impact that it's making, the lives that it's changing, and really what this whole thing is about. And so if you would ask me, say, so what is this, what is it based on, or what is the whole thing? And really through my studies and just as I keep talking about it, what I've come to discover is that this whole construct is really biblical in the sense that if you look at Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, and that's when I do parent leadership seminars, I let people know that this whole construct is really biblical. It's from the proverbial writer. And he says, a good parent leaves an inheritance for his children's children, but the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And so I really kind of focus on when Proverbs, when Solomon makes a statement, who happens to be the wisest man in the world, most richest man in the world, at the time when he writes that, what is he saying? What is he saying when he makes the statement that a good parent? And so I just think that's something to ponder. It's something to ponder in 2022. Something to ponder just kind of where we're at as a nation, just dealing with families. What kind of inheritance are we leaving with our children? And that's something, I think that's something we can stick a pin in and have dialogue, because if we're able to do that right, then I just think that a lot of things will work themselves out if that is the foundation of our parenting. If we allow that to be the foundation of course, Christ is Christ, but I mean, when I think about parent leadership and leaving this inheritance, what is that all about?
It's not always just financial, is that right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Right? Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, and that is quite insightful. You think of inheritance, you think about a boat, right? I'm thinking about house, I'm thinking about money and all those kind of things, right? But Solomon helps us because he says, but the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And so the B clause says, well, if I parent right, then the wealth will be laid up. I really don't have to worry about the wealth if I parent right. So what is that, you know? And so ultimately, when we look at what kind of inheritance can't be tangible. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I got some money set aside. Something happened to me. My wife has said if something happened to both of us, my children are going to they'll get a few coins, Andy, but you know, not know about millions, but they'll get a few coins. But there's some money there. But I'm more excited about what I have invested and what I see the fruits of my labor with all three of my children. Because I'm fully convinced I'm one of the richest men in the world right now.
When
Because my children love God.
when you talk about leadership, parents taking leadership,
Yeah.
you know, I'm wondering, is there a problem with parents trying to be friends with their kids now these days more than being leaders? Is that
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That is a very real thing that we got parents that want to be friend. They want to be a friend before a parent. There's nothing wrong with being a friend.
right?
Matter of fact, I think that's wonderful. That, you know, that's like kind of, you look at, you know, when you look at parenting and then it's done right, that once your children grow up, leave home, you know, become fully autonomous and they're living their lives, then I think that the greatest compliment in the highest order, they could see you as a friend. You know, Jesus in John 15 says, I no longer call you servants. He says, I call you friend. So I think that the friendship of parent and child, if it's done right, to me, that's like, wow, that's awesome. You know, if it's done right. But yeah, but when you put the friend first and the parent second, then we do have problems in the mentoring, the coaching, the parenting that should be done doesn't get done, and we end up with a deficit and a lot of problems.
What's some other revelations that people have gathered and just been surprised and enlightened with your work with leadership, parent leadership?
Okay. So yeah, in the book there, basically, I you know, I preach and teach, and when I do the sharing, is that it's kind of, you kind of need to know where you're at in your parenting style. And so in the book, there's a survey that kind of lets you know, well, you know, what kind of style do you parent? Because there are some writers that have shared that when we look at the friction that's within the home between the son and the father, or maybe the daughter and the mother, it's not that our children, you know, your child might say that they hate you, but really what they don't like is how we parent. They don't like the leadership. The child loves you, but your leading that becomes the problem. And so in the book, I clearly indicate that there's 4 different types of parenting styles in general that most people gravitate to in some fashion or other. And that is that we're either authoritarians, we can be permissive in our parenting, we can be unengaged, or we can be participatory in our parenting. And so there's a survey that you do and you answer these questions. And what I've come across is that there's a lot of parents, especially the military like me, are authoritarians. And so they try to run their house like they're running their business, like they're running sailors, like they're running, you know, cadets, whatever, soldiers. And so that authoritarian approach, you know, you look in some sense, there's some advantages, some good stuff, but then there's some disadvantages. And so what I've discovered is that parents they either kind of very authoritative. I'm the parent, I'm the mom, I'm the dad. You do what I tell you to do, and you know what I say go, and nothing is discussed. Or I find the parent who says, "Well, I just want to be a friend. I don't want that at all." And so then matter of fact, I don't really want to attach any kind of rules or regulations. I just kind of want Johnny to figure it out. I just want Maria to experience life and figure it out, because I want them to love me. I want them to share and talk to me. So we have them that are very permissive in the parenting. So I have them that are kind of very authoritative, kind of drill sergeant. Then I have them that are very permissive. And really, it's like, you know, can we find a happy medium?
Yeah.
The happy medium is the participatory parenting.
You know, I often, and I've used this in several types of teaching throughout the years, several types of teaching, the pendulum approach, that the pendulum swings one way and swings the other. And often to get into middle, a person will swing way over the other way to overextend themselves in your example that you gave, and they were too authoritarian and now they're too permissive, and that too permissive, and then they swing over to be too authoritative. And it's not human nature for us to stay balanced. We need the
Right.
help of God to do that.
Yeah.
But that pendulum swings back and forth, and I've used it, like I said, in several different types of teachings through the years. And when you were talking, I think, yes, so often I see folks go, I was raised by a military dad, and let me tell you, it's not going to be me. And they go way over the other side.
They go, yes, exactly. Yeah. And so that's not, it's kind of like we take a fool's approach when really you don't want to, you want to talk to your children. You don't want to talk at your children. You want to, make it where they feel comfortable and that you can have dialogue. And when there's frictions and there's disagreements, to be able to try to handle that. So do our children need rules and boundaries? Yes. And a healthy children will press the limits. Healthy children will say, well, how far can I go? Right. And so that kind of pushing is saying that, Mom, I'm growing, Dad, I'm growing. I got some of my own ideas and thoughts. Right. And so if we're comfortable in our parenting, we know who we are, then we can say, let's talk about that. Let's pull the string on that, son. Let's see how that'll play out, and there's no fear, no intimidation. Let's just talk about this. And so having some rules and regulations and things set up and some expectations and some goals and those boundaries, that's all good, healthy stuff. And if we did more of that in our parenting, I think there would be a lot less friction and anger and resentment in our homes.
When you talk about your passion, and I often hear, and I quote T.D. Jakes a lot, when T.D. Jakes has said, find your passion, and somewhere within your passion is often your purpose. And it's when I hear you talk about your writing, I hear your passion, and I'm going, well, that's probably God's purpose in your life. Is that the driving force that you have in writing, is just feeling that this is something you have to get out of you and put on paper?
Yes, most definitely. And what I've discovered is, that some people have thought that the writing was in me all along, but the truth is, Andy, it wasn't. I was a math and science guy. God birthed the writing in me through my own pain. I wrote my first book called Blessed to Be Broken because there was some healing that needed to be done within me. And so with that penmanship, that opened up the door for me to write. I didn't even know I could write until I wrote my first book. And so now that is a thing that I understand, that writing is one of those things that it crosses race, religion, literature just travels. You know what I mean? It's like, it's incredible of the power of the pen and that it's ongoing. It's alive, it's like the word is alive, it's quick. So the pen and what people are able to experience, that's the part that is just so blessed me, is that when people get my literature and read it, they're on the other side of the country and they don't really, someone referred my book to them. And so that piece to help them is really the passion. And I got so much in me, it's just crazy.
Speaking of so much in you, I'm going to put down below in the comment section some links where they could find your books. And I say books, it's more than one, folks. He's got some more books. And I even had some questions about another book we're not even talking about right now, because I want to save some time to talk about that later at another time. But he's got several books and he's working on some books now. I'd like for you to make sure you take the time, look these up, get a hold of them, read the reviews, look at what it says on Amazon, and reach out and look at those. Now, more important than all of that, and some of you who watch Morning Moments know exactly what I'm going to say right now. Elder McRae is, by the way, his name's Clinton McRae Jr. in the books. You won't find him under Elder, but Elder McRae, God has got him to do. He's got a plan, purpose, and hope for him, and he's doing the very best he could follow through to do that. He needs your prayers. And I want everybody who sees this interview to stop when this interview is over, and don't just tell me, well, I'm going to pray for him sometime. Pray for him right now after this is over. Because when the children of God get together and pray one for another, there's going to be great things that's happening in books, movies, songs, and whatever God has for us. So I want you to take the time and pray for Elder Clinton right now, after you hear this, and pass this interview on to other people. Elder McRae, it has been a thrill to be able to spend a little time with you this morning.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. I'm humbled just to be here and to be a part of this form, what God is doing in your life with Morning Moments.
We're going to stay connected because there's some other books. So you've got a sequel coming, and you've got some other things on the way. We want to get you back here and talk about that as well. Thank you for coming today.
Okay. Love you. Appreciate you.
And thank you for joining Morning Moments. And if you would, please keep coming back, and may God richly bless you.